Newstalk ZB, it is 8:12. In a few hours, an unlikely group of Kiwi celebrities begins their journey to conquer Mt Kilimanjaro, all in the name of charity. Rowers Mahi Drysdale and Juliet Haig, singer-songwriter Bo Runga and our own Kerry McIver, along with Rhys Darby, are aiming to raise the profile of World Vision's new microfinance program. They've also chosen someone from the program to support and will visit them during the trip. Joining us now, World Vision CEO Clarke and comedian Rhys Darby. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
A very good morning.
So how hard have you been training, Rhys?
Well, I don't want to overtrain. My theory was I didn't want to get too tired by the time I got there, so I've sort of taken it fairly easy. But I have done a lot of walking and a lot of deep breathing.
How hard is it to climb this mountain, Chris?
Do you know it takes 7 days? It's
a week?
It's a week. 5.5 days up, and you get to the top, you have an hour at the top, and then a day and a half to get down. I've been reading the blogs of people who didn't make it, and the good comforting thing is Rhys, Martina Navratilova, you heard of her? She didn't make it.
Yeah, but she's a tennis player, isn't she? It's all about the arms.
Yeah, I guess she didn't use her legs as well, did she?
Nah, she probably just concentrated on the arms, forehand, backhand.
Yeah, our secret is Mahi Drysdale.
He's going to carry you all up if you don't make it?
We're giving him a rope,
and he's just drag
us up.
I've told you this before, Chris, he's all about the arms. He's a rower.
Well, you are camp leader.
Mm-hmm. I told you, mate. I'm the legs. I'm the legs of the group.
You are.
Legs 11, they call me.
Legs, the body, and the looks.
Wait till you see these things in the flesh. They're beautiful, beautiful legs.
Yeah, that sounds really quite exciting, actually, Rhys.
So that's all part of the adventure.
How did you get to be camp leader? I take it this is a self-appointed type thing.
That's right. I turned up early with my military training for time. And I was the first one there, basically. And I said, right, well, I might as well lead this. Yeah. Where the rest of them, to be honest, I was 5 minutes early.
He was 5 minutes early. We actually had a job for him, Susan. He was going to be camp mother, but actually he got in early, so we're still looking for a camp mother. If anyone wants to come this week,
I think you'll find
Kerry. Outstanding, wouldn't she?
Kerry's definitely the mum.
Self-appointed.
When you get to the top of that mountain, what do you see? Because you're at the top of Africa.
You are. You see forever. It's the tallest mountain in Africa, and it's the highest bottom to top mountain in the world. There's nothing else around it. So you look out over Kenya, you look out over Tanzania. There's a few lower mountains. They're only about the height of Mount Cook that you look out over. And the really cool thing is we get there on sunrise. So the night before the final ascent, we set out about 11 p.m. at night in the dark with our head torches. We climb about 1,000 metres so that we can be there on the peak just on sunrise. Wow. And apparently that's the most amazing experience.
I hope it's not cloudy.
That would be a bummer.
Knowing my luck.
And not that likely in Africa, you'd have to think.
Yeah, true.
Chris, why are you dragging this bunch of celebrities up? There is a serious reason, isn't there, around microfinancing?
Yeah, there's a really serious reason. I'll tell you what it was. It was a woman I met in India about 18 months ago. We were way, way up in northeast India, very, very poor part. And we're travelling through this desert-like conditions, and there was this sort of Bedouin tent seemingly in the middle of nowhere. So we pulled over to talk to this lady, and she had one of these old Singer pedal sewing machines, and she was making these amazing dresses. And so we started talking to her, and she told us that she had a loan from World Vision. It was a microfinance loan. And so from that, she'd set up this whole little business making these fantastic dresses. So we felt we should do the decent thing and offered to buy one of the dresses and bring it home. And she said, she was terribly sorry, but she'd sold them all. But if we came back next month, she would have one for us. And it was such a powerful story because, she was in business in the middle of nowhere making a little profit. And we started talking to her about what she did with the money. And very seriously, she looked at us and said, look, it's about the kids. This pays for my kids to go to school. And we sat there for a really small sum of money. For her, it was the price of a Singer sewing machine. She had actually secured the future for her kids.
So she'd borrowed for that Singer sewing machine, and off that she was making enough to educate her children.
And pay back the loan. That was the magnificent thing. I think the loan was about equivalent to about 15 New Zealand dollars.
50.
$50. And the great thing about that is that, she's probably beaten poverty in her family for a lifetime.
$50.
$50.
It is, and with women, with microfinancing, there's a couple of really good things. One is we generally pay the money back, but the even better thing is the money goes to the kids, doesn't it?
Yeah, this is the sad thing, being a bloke saying this, but actually we do target women because we know that women will pay it back, but also critically what they do with the money they make is they give it to the kids. It pays for the education, it pays for the food, it pays for the housing. Sadly with men, a lot more of it gets drunk away. So in fact what we're trying to do is encourage men to be much more responsible parents in their households. But we do know if you give $1 to a woman, about 90 cents of it will go to the family.
What happens to that other 10 cents in the dollar?
Well, this is the really cunning thing. They have these things called savings and loan societies. So what they do is hubby suddenly sees wife getting quite rich and thinks to himself, I quite like that money. So what the women do is they set up these savings and loan schemes among the villagers, and all the money goes into that, and they take out 10 cents to give to hubby. So they have this amazing sort of internal economy. And what's really cool...
So they're hiding the 90 cents that goes on the kids, right? That gets the kids educated and all those good things. But the hubby gets the 10 cents for the beer or whatever the heck they're drinking.
Basically.
That's kind of how it works.
When hubby says, how's the business going? Oh, it's pretty tough, dear. I only made 10 cents today.
Women really do rule the world, don't we?
It's like my marriage. That's exactly how my marriage works. I get my 10 cents.
You get your 10 cents.
And she takes the rest of it. And the kids are fine. They're dressed and fed.
Well looked after. Now, you are taking the kids and the family on this adventure in Africa, aren't you, Rhys?
Yeah, that's right. I'm taking my 7-year-old and my 3-year-old and obviously wife, Rosie, just so that they can see for themselves how it works over there and get an experience that, is going to probably be with them for the rest of their lives. And this is not the only time we're going to go. Hopefully we can, go again. This is the second time I've been over to Africa. And I fell in love with the place the first time I went over there. And I spent a lot of time with children over there the first time round. And I just said to myself then, I have to bring my kids back here. I want them to play with these kids. So it's going to do them the world of good.
Now, this is going to happen in a very sort of intimate and special way because you sponsor a 7-year-old and your son is 7. So that is going to be a very special sort of meeting.
Yes, I can't wait. I'm gonna film it. We're just going there on our own. My wife and children, and we're going to have someone take us. But we're going out to a remote village to meet a child that we're sponsoring. And yeah, I want my son and him to meet and get on and see what happens. And because we've got we sponsor a few kids and. We've got their photos up on notice boards in the house and things like that, and my children always ask about them. And so I'm very lucky to have this opportunity to go and meet them. And it makes it more special. It's more than just a face on a wall, and hopefully we can keep in touch.
Because, Chris, it is very hard for our children of any age to understand the lack of things, the poverty that these kids, so many of them, live in, and yet this sort of happiness, really, so the contentment.
Yeah, look, it's the thing that I've really struck me coming to World Vision. First time I travelled to Africa, which was about 3 years ago, I expected to see poverty, I expected to see malnutrition, I saw all of that. But what I didn't expect to see was this unbelievable sense of joy and the sense of connectedness to family, to land, to culture, to God, to history. And I sat there and thought, what an extremely rich and vibrant place this is. And I travelled back a couple of weeks later and driving home and drove to this beautiful park in the Remuera, and it was completely empty except for an old man walking his dog. And I looked out and thought to myself, who are the rich? Who are these children who are... I wouldn't want to say happy in the sense that poverty, you can never romanticize it.
But there's a certain sense of connectedness and community and contentment. Well, I don't know what the word is, but yes.
I think it's as simple as joy. I've been in Kolkata in the slums there, and I always thought the city of joy was an ironic twist, but actually you see joy in the slums. And I come back and I look at ourselves and think, we are materially rich as a nation, but I wonder if we're relationally poor. And the irony is that go to parts of Africa or India and you see people who are materially poor but relationally rich. And it leaves me thinking, maybe it's actually two beggars around the begging bowl rather than, the rich giving money to the poor. It certainly leaves me pretty thoughtful. And, for that reason, it's been one of the joys being able to take my kids to meet some of these children. And I've seen the transformation in their own lives.
So, Rhys, family excited leaving tonight, I think?
Yes, very excited. They've been counting down the days. Finn, obviously, the 7-year-old, very excited about leaving school. Not much school left for him for a while.
No. He'll learn a lot more there.
Yeah, and the 3-year-old's just very excited about the prospect of some lions and elephants. So we're going on a safari as well.
And you've got an entrepreneur you've picked as well, haven't you?
That's right. He's a 37-year-old. I tried to get someone very similar to my age, and he's a man called Lucas, and I'm going to meet him. He sells petrol, and he at the moment he puts it in little 1.5 litre sort of Coke bottles. He wants some money to buy some actual proper barrels to keep the petrol in. It just doesn't seem very safe, so I would definitely want to get that help him with that. And he's actually got another job as well. He's got 2 jobs. So I think this chap, I could just see the photo of him and I just look at his eyes and I think, I don't think he's doing much drinking. He's got like 5 kids, and at night he has other job as he repairs bicycles. So he just looks like a very honest man with working really, really hard. So I think he really deserves. I'd love to meet him.
And if people want to support this, Chris, jump online.
Jump online. And the thing to say about the people that you'll see online is we spend a lot of time vetting their stories. So, yep, there are lots of women, but there are also lots of men. And we actually spend a lot of time making sure that they too actually don't drink the profits away, but actually go to their kids. So you'll see some really powerful stories. And to anyone who's thinking about microfinance, I think the thing I'd say to you is it's not a handout. It's actually a hand up. And the neat thing about it is you're actually giving people some hope. But more than that, that money recycles 10 times over. So your $10 is $100.
And it keeps it going. Well, enjoy Kilimanjaro and Africa with the family. Thank you so much for coming in, both of you, Rhys Darby and Chris Clarke.